Today, we're tackling a huge question. How do we actually build better cities? We're going to unpack the blueprint for what's called sustainable urban living. Basically, how our towns and cities can become fairer, wealthier, and a whole lot greener for everyone who lives there. But before we dive into all the details and the grand plans, let's just start with a simple question. Just take a second and think about it. For you, what makes a city a great place to live? Is it the parks, the job opportunities, that feeling of community? Keep that thought in your head because we're about to explore what it really takes to build a city for the future. All right, so here's our game plan. First, we're going to define what sustainable urban living even means. Then we'll get into its three core pillars. You can just think of them as people, prosperity, and planet. And finally, we'll see how it all has to come together in this really delicate balancing act. Right, let's get into it. First things first. What on earth are we talking about when we say sustainable urban living? Okay, so here's the big idea. It's really all about balance. It means making life better for everyone living in our cities right now, dealing with things like housing and pollution. But, and this is the crucial part, we have to do it without messing things up for future generations. It's about meeting our needs today without basically stealing from the future.
So how do you actually do that? Well, the whole concept is built on three fundamental pillars. A great way to think about it is like a three-legged stool. You've got the social pillar, which is all about people. You've got the economic pillar, which is about prosperity. And you have the environmental pillar, which is about, you guessed it, the planet. You need all three for that stool to stay standing. Take one away and the whole thing just topples over. Let's dig into that first pillar, this social one. This is all about us. It's the human side of the city, focused on building communities that are fair, inclusive, and offer a really high quality of life for absolutely everyone. And what's so powerful here is just how practical these goals are. We're talking about the absolute fundamentals of a good life, right? A safe, affordable place to call home, being able to get to good schools and doctors, having green spaces to just breathe and relax. It's all about creating a city where everyone feels safe, they feel included, and they can genuinely thrive. But, and this is a big but, there's a massive challenge: inequality. In so many of our cities, there's this really stark divide. On one side, you've got these affluent areas with high incomes, great housing, fantastic services, and on the other, you have deprived areas facing the total opposite. This kind of segregation is a huge roadblock to creating a city that works for all its residents. So what can be done about it? Well, the solution planners are working on is creating more balanced communities. The idea is to mix different types of housing, affordable and private, and to really invest in public services like schools and transit in all areas. The goal is to break down those barriers, shrink that gap, and build a much more connected and cohesive city. Okay, on to our second pillar, the economic one. I mean, let's be honest, it's pretty hard to have a high quality of life without a strong, resilient economy to support it all. This pillar is all about making sure our cities are hubs of opportunity and prosperity, not just for today, but for the long haul. And to really get where our cities are heading, you kind of have to understand where they've come from. A lot of UK cities have gone through this huge transformation. They've shifted away from the old economies based on industry and manufacturing and moved towards services. We're talking about things like finance, tech, education, and retail. A sustainable city has to be built for this new reality. So this is the strategy. It's not about relying on just one industry anymore. It's about creating a really diverse mix of jobs and businesses. It also means investing in top-notch infrastructure, like great transport links and world-class internet. And critically, it's about taking those old, forgotten industrial areas and breathing new life into them, turning them into places for new homes and businesses, while making absolutely sure that the original communities there actually benefit from all that change.
And that brings us to our third and final pillar, the environmental one. Cities, by their very nature, use up enormous amounts of energy and resources. So this pillar is all about how we can seriously shrink our urban footprint and start protecting the planet.
Let's break down the key actions. First up, transport and energy. A huge goal here is to get people out of their cars by providing much better buses and trains, along with safer cycle lanes. At the same time, we've got to make our homes and offices way more energy efficient. Think better insulation and smart appliances, and push our power grid towards clean, renewable sources. Next on the list, waste and water. We all know the mantra, reduce, reuse, recycle, but cities are getting even smarter. Some are using innovative waste-to-energy plants to turn trash into power. And with flood risks on the rise, they're using things called sustainable drainage systems, which basically help rainwater soak into the ground naturally instead of overwhelming our drains and flooding our streets.
And finally, we've got urban greening. And this is a really cool concept. We're talking about things like green roofs, literally planting gardens on top of buildings, and just planting a lot more trees. This stuff improves air quality, it gives wildlife a home, and it helps fight something called the urban heat island effect. That's when all the concrete and asphalt in a city center just bakes in the sun, making it dangerously hot. More green makes the city cooler, healthier, and just a nicer place to be.
So, we've covered people, prosperity, and the planet. But the real magic, and frankly, the greatest challenge, is making them all work together. You can't just pick one and forget about the others. It all has to fit.
This really lays it all out, doesn't it? A truly sustainable city has to hit all three of these targets at the same time. You need a high quality of life for all your people. That has to be supported by a stable economy with good jobs. And you have to do all of that while having the smallest possible impact on the environment. It is a constant, tricky balancing act. And this quote from the source material just nails it. It says that successful cities are the ones that can do it all at once. Success isn't just about a booming economy or just being green. It's about achieving all three of those goals together. That right there is the real measure of a city of the future. So as we wrap this up, it all comes back to you. I want you to take a look around your own town or city. Think about the housing, the local economy, the parks, the way you get around. Is your city doing that balancing act? Is it meeting the needs of its people, its economy, and the planet? The big question is your city being built for the future?